Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to some more StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Today I'm playing another Zerg live game for you, and this time around it is going to be a Zerg vs Zerg played on Prion Terraces. For anyone wondering, that is going to be the map with the two golden expansions relatively close to your main base. Those usually do come into play, and oftentimes there's definitely going to be some sort of aggression early on into the game, be it with like cheesy Zerglings or be it with like, you know, macro-focused strategies where you do a push with, for example, Roaches relatively early on into the game. Either way, I'm gonna go ahead here and open up with a hatchery first, just because I'm feeling a little greedy, and just because I don't really want to be bothering with the 13-12 shenanigans. I mean, the fact of the matter is that most Zerg players on this map seem to be playing relatively greedy, and because there's not too many big maps out at this very moment in the map pool, I mean, the current map pool relatively, you know, is relatively small, all of them. It basically means that most of the people will sort of decide that this map is gonna be their macro map. Now, obviously, that's only like a gentleman's agreement. There is definitely no rules set in stone right here that would prevent my opponent from going for cheese. But if he does decide to do that, I am definitely gonna be in a bit of a deficit. But I think we can still go ahead and defend, even with a hatchery first. Now, I did go for a gas right after the hatchery and then also a spawning pool. So pretty much the greediest all-round safe opener that you can get away with. Unless my opponent indeed is going for like the 12 pool or the 13 one. Well, it looks like we're gonna have to do a little bit of cheese defending over here. Obviously, like I said, I was going for the gentleman's agreement, but my opponent has decided to think otherwise. So I'm still trying to make workers here. Don't really need to add on any more than this. Gonna make sure that I have as many larvae available right now as I possibly can. And I think I'm just gonna let that expansion go up as well, because there's no particular reason why I should not be allowing that. We're obviously gonna be making Zerglings here. Gonna un-hotkey that hatchery in the natural as well. And very shortly, once I can, I'll add on the Zergling speed as well as the Baling Nest. I could even go for like a second one, to be honest. There we go. The scary part right now is not so much if my opponent decides to finish me off, because I think I will be able to defend that rather easily. But it's a little scarier if my opponent indeed expanded behind this as well, which oftentimes is going to be the case. Yeah, he indeed did do so. So that basically means that we are going to be in a scenario where I am forced to do some sort of economic aggression as soon as Zergling speed finishes up. He's made a lot of links, so at the moment I definitely will be at an advantage in that regard, but I gotta be careful here for sure. Got to be careful here for sure. Now, we got plenty of links of our own. Gotta make sure that I add on my own expansion now too, and we'll try and do a little bit of damage as soon as Zergling speed finishes up. As a follow-up, I will also be putting up the infestation or the evo chamber right there to maybe go for an all-in with Zerglings. With +1 attack. That seems to always be a relatively good option here, but we'll have to make links now. We'll have to make links and try and see if we can do some sort of damage. Now, I am going to hit a minor supply block here, which is exactly what I was aiming for, just so I can maximize the amount of units that I'm actually producing. I actually don't need this many. I'm going to go for 4, and we'll go from here. Obviously, I'm going to follow this up with a Overlord here as well, but as soon as I can, we're going to do a little bit of aggression. Now, it is important here that I don't lose my links unnecessarily. There is a spine crawler up already for my opponent. We're going to be droning behind this. But here we go. Okay. We're going to try and head to the main here. See if I can do some more damage. Looks like he decided to go for a Roach Warren right away. Fascinating. Alright, in that case, we're gonna do the same. Okay, we're trying to be sneaky here. He's probably noticed that, but if he doesn't, we obviously are in a really good spot. He did not notice. He did not notice. Making one round of workers here. But here's the hidden banelings in the main base. Pretty old trick. Something a lot of people have been doing since all of eternity. Only got 2 kills there because my opponent is a good, like, macro player, and he actually did notice that. But the fact of the matter is that he obviously is not going to be able to get that many units out here. I don't think he's going to be able to get very many here at all. We'll have a quick look whether or not he put up the 3rd base anytime soon. I highly doubt that. He did not. Here's the question, though. When do we start making units. When do we start our roach production? We're gonna have a look. See if we can find anything. Okay, he's already got roaches. We're gonna have to make our own now. I got that spine crawler. Obviously, I also have the defender's advantage right now if he decides to move out. Which basically just means that my units are gonna be producing while he's waddling across the map. Which just means that I have a time advantage. So if he decides to push out, I'm okay with this. Do have to keep an eye out though on potential expansions. We got a good little bit of saturation now. And I'm even gonna go ahead and make a third base as well as a... Well, I was gonna say I was gonna go for a lair here, but he may very well be trying to sneak out a bunch of units. I don't know if he's just trying to defend his third or if he's actually trying to be cheeky. I think that's a shift command here. Yeah, he's trying to be cheeky. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead here and just keep on making roaches. +1 attack is done, so we're on a good spot. Just need to make sure that I don't lose the third that I'm about to create. Okay. He does not have any upgrades. This is good. Okay. Make a couple more roaches here, just in case. Or we're gonna drone behind now. Fully droning behind, going for the kill on his third. Obviously still gonna have to pressure. The thing is right now my opponent is definitely making non-stop army. He is not able to drone up whatsoever. Okay. He already cancelled. Larry's done. Okay. In the meantime, I'm also gonna be getting my Overseer. Just because I don't exactly know when he finishes up his roach speed, and... I mean, the thing is, it's hard to decide right now whether or not I should stay. If he randomly pops out with a bunch of roaches, and for example... he has roach speed done, there's no way I can actually run away, so... we're just gonna play it safe. Now I'm gonna start making my non-stop roach production as well. And this is exactly what I was worried for. He does have a big amount of roaches. But not too many. I don't think he's splitting them up. He's making non-stop roaches though. He doesn't have roach speed yet, so that's something important to keep in mind here. Gonna spread out my own overlords just a little bit. And we'll add on another queen here of our own for our newly acquired third base. One thing to note is that our expansions will start mining out in just several minutes from now. So I'll have to do a bit of a timing as soon as roach speed finishes up, which is nearly. Okay, making drones as a follow-up. I will add on a couple of Ravagers. Okay, let's go. Okay, we gotta do some damage here. +2 attack isn't done yet. But we do have a rather big army. Don't have too many Ravagers, but I think this is fine. He does finish up his own roach speed now too, so we'll have to wait. We'll push out when +2 attack finishes up. +2 attack is a really important upgrade in ZVZ. In case you were unaware, it just makes the missile upgrade so much more powerful in ZVZ. Just makes the unit so much stronger. +2 attack about to finish up. Okay. Oh, not yet. That was actually the Ravager finishing up. I don't want to engage yet. Just snipe a couple of creep tumors. Okay. That's +2 armor done. Or +2 attack done. Ooh, he's going for a Muta switch? Immediately adding on more queens here. And following up with more and more roaches. The thing is, Mutas will eventually clean this up. But it's gonna take a while before he manages to do so. Okay. Gonna split up my army here. Try and take out as much eco here as we possibly can. Okay. These can go home. These can go home as well. Adding on as many queens here as possible and adding in the spores as well now. Obviously gotta be careful about these run-bys. Okay. Adding on as many Hydras as I possibly can now. As well as more queens. Good. He's got a lot of mutas now. I think we may have to evacuate this base. He's got a lot of mutas all of a sudden. Don't know where they all came from. He must have been saving up gas for forever. I actually did not take out that third base, and while I did get rid of most of his eco, we're gonna have to resort to a bit of a cheesy plan now, because there's no way I'm gonna be able to hold on without my queens. Like, he's having too many mutas now. Really cool switch by him. You see this quite often lately. Seems to be something that's a lot more popular in the last couple of weeks. I haven't been playing this style too much, I'll be honest. Like, not myself, that is. We definitely took out the majority of his economy, but obviously that doesn't mean much if he's just gonna have an army that can counterattack mine every single time. Okay. Nydus is done. Nydus is done. We need to win with the Nydus Worm. If we don't, we're screwed. Oh god. If he saw this, we're screwed. Obviously, that only was like a split second of vision for him. Putting in the energy queens first, then the rest of them. But I think he noticed. Yep. We're gonna have to be lucky. No way. Oh, man. Oh, that's really well done by him. He's gonna be at a massive advantage now. And we didn't manage to finish him off with the +2 attack timing. Just sort of allowing him a really good spot. A really good spot. We're just gonna have to slowly march across now, which is not something I prefer doing. Okay, well. Better that than nothing. We use the Nydus here for reinforcement, primarily. Okay, okay, okay. Marching with the queens. Oh god, yes! Oh, that's such a mistake by him. The thing is though, he's probably gonna have a crazy amount of roaches waiting for me. And I have nothing to really stop that. Oh god, no it's not. Oh god, we had to be so quick there with the splits. They say Terra needs to split, but that was a pretty close one. Okay. I think that was the majority of his army. He went for the Banelings right there to try and ensure himself that we were not gonna be able to use our Hydralisks because they do splash damage against light units. But the problem there was obviously that he just simply didn't like connect very well. We split it pretty heavily. Looks like he's gathering in the main base. Might be a sign that... yeah, he's trying to get more Banelings out, but... this is fine. This is fine. I do really want to have a bit of income again, though, because I've got none. This is a complete all-in now by me. Okay. Baneling's obviously really great at eating those shots. He was not quite teched up to a hive yet, which means that at this point, this is the army that we've got, and this is the army that he has. The only things left over right now is to try and fight this final army that he's got. Now, we got a bunch of queens left over. Hydralisks are all gone. We have no expansion anymore. He may still be having some income from one of the other bases, though. So we have to head out. Oh god, don't die, please. Okay, good. This is the army we've got. This is all. He's running. He's running. He's running. Now the thing is obviously that he still has a minor little bit of army, but he has very little actually. I thought he would have had more. Those are at +1/+1. We've got a couple of Roaches here finishing up. We actually have a couple of Roaches as well in the Nydus. Okay, we're gonna use him for scouting here. I don't know if they have another base. He must have had another expansion. Oh, he has not. He has not rebuilt his base. This is it. This is all he has. Oh, we win? What? Whoa, 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 what? We have won that game? That was absolutely ridiculous. Nice. A base race in Zerg versus Zerg. What? Like, he opened up with a relatively, like, cheesy build here. It was only Zerglings and nothing, like, all-in-y whatsoever. I assumed it was gonna be an all-in because it's so common, but he expanded behind it, right? So I was kind of behind right from the get-go. However, we decided to transition and do a little bit of damage with a big set of speedlings that I had myself as well. Now, I think once this sort of aggression sort of like ended, I was slightly behind. However, I managed to sneak those things in and we got a couple more kills. And in the end, it's 22 Harfesters versus 19, right? So we had this massive shenanigans going on. He's got a bunch of extra Roaches, which is why his supply count is kind of inflated. But in general, like, there's not like much of an advantage right now from him. So we transition in towards the mid game, where I probably am tiny little bit behind, but I got the +1 armor finishing up. He's got a little bit of a faster lair. He's got a slightly bigger army. You get the deal, right? It was relatively even. Now we push out with a pretty solid army here while getting our own third base up. And at this point, since I'm transitioning towards +2 attack, I figured I should put all of my eggs in one basket and do an all-out attack to try and end out the game. That's the reason why I get this much gas going, just to try and do as much damage here as possible. And we do a lot of damage. We do a ton of damage, but I was not anticipating a Mutalisk switch. Now this is something that people have been doing more and more often, and while, once again, the supply counts are inflated in my favor this time around, the Roach army is doing work, but eventually it does get cleaned up. Now, we split up the units everywhere, so we end up killing, well, a lot of his workers. We end up killing 26 of his workers. At this point, the income is going to be substantially in my advantage, right? The problem at this point in the game, though, is that he's got an army, he's got 19 Mutalisks that I do not have a single way to deal with. Other than, like, making a bunch of queens and making a bunch of spore crawlers, it is just waiting for me right now to get a sufficient amount of Hydralisk out, which is the reason why I abandoned that third, because I know that I wasn't going to be able to hold on to it. That was a decision that's pretty difficult to make, but I think it was the correct one in the end. Now, at this point, we're both on a stupidly low eco. He actually has the advantage once again. However, we still have that big army count that we had previously, and since it's not that roach heavy anymore, it's not gonna be that inflated. And on top of that, like the army he's got here is really bad at actually fighting my army. It's just like the advantages or like the engagements that he can or like the harassment where he can really shine. Now we move across the map here, slow push because we're bringing the queens. And here is his one move, right? He has to go ahead and split up these banelings. Once again, banelings to bonus against light units, which I think is like Zerglings, but also Hydralisks. So the split here, I was not ready for it, but I split to the very best of my abilities, trying to get the roaches in front here, and at the very least, try and make sure that these Hydras do not get a crazy amount of splash damage. And on top of him giving away a couple of the mutas, we managed to somehow, some way, clean up that army. This is where the game gets kind of crazy though, because he's got that base mining, he's got 4 bases going up at this point, but he has no way of holding on to these 4 bases. I've only got 2, making this a complete all-in. Both of my bases are mined out, which makes it a really wonky scenario. But in the end, we just had a bit too many units here for him to properly finish up. Intercepting all of these reinforcements is a huge deal as well. We're running up to the main base here just to try and pick off as many of those units as possible. And he still has a small clump of mutas, I believe. At least he had a couple, I believe. It's only actually 1. I thought it was more. But he has a small group of units as well that he can do a little bit of damage with. Now, I don't think he wanted to really believe that he was behind here either. This was actually a mistake by me. Lose a bunch of my anti-air. But wasn't too big of a deal. We still traded cost efficiently there, I think. But all in all, probably one of the craziest and wildest Zerg vs Zerg that I've ever seen in a while. I mean, the thing is, most of the ZVZs end in one big engagement, right? And in a micro error. In this game, we had both micro, we had macro, we had base trade scenarios, we had aggressive moves, and in the end, we just barely managed to get the upper hand. While he definitely ran me around for a little while, with the drones that he had left over, making me think that he was actually having like another expansion somewhere over here, which is why I had that like 1 roach in a second, like patrolling around to check whether or not he actually expanded somewhere. I believe I pick off a roach here, right? I split off 1 roach. Yeah, this guy is scouting all of the bases to see if anything fancy is going on, but it was pretty crazy. I tried reinforcing my main base once again by putting up a defensive Nydus close to my queen so they could go back home. But he did call it a GG, well played. So, awesome Zerg vs Zerg game. I'm very glad I got this shared this one with you guys. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button as well so you get a notification as soon as I do upload more. And other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Have an amazing day, alright? Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.